company that makes Snickers spent $9.1 billion in 2017 to buy a chain of animal hospitals. Mars, Incorporated, M&M's, Twix, Skittles, Milky Way. What it bought was VCA, nearly 800 veterinary hospitals across North America, and it was not the company's first. Mars already controlled Banfield, the chain inside most PetSmart stores. Today, Mars is the largest provider of veterinary care in the world, and it is also the largest pet food company in the world. The same corporation that sells your dog treats employs the person who tells you which treats to buy. Nobody hid any of this. It was announced in press releases. The reason it is completely legal is the interesting part. Here is what that costs you. Over the decade running up to 2024, the price of veterinary services in the United States rose roughly 60%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. General inflation over the same stretch was about half that. Vet care did not just get more expensive, it got more expensive faster than almost everything else you buy, including rent in most cities. Americans now spend somewhere around $150 billion a year on their pets, and roughly a quarter of that goes to the vet. That is not because dogs got sicker. Dogs did not change. The ownership of the building where you take the dog changed. And when you sit in that exam room and get handed a treatment plan, you assume you are getting a medical opinion from an independent professional. Sometimes you are. But there is a decent chance the food on the recommendation, the lab that runs the blood work, the dental chew at the counter, and the paycheck of the person recommending all of it trace back to one privately held candy company in McLean, Virginia. Mars did not stumble into this. It has been building toward it for 90 years, in public, one acquisition at a time. The company started with candy in 1911. It entered pet food in 1935, buying a British firm that canned horse meat for dogs, which eventually became Pedigree and Whiskas. For most of the 20th century, that was the shape of it. Candy on one side, kibble on the other, two aisles of the same supermarket. Then, the strategy shifted from selling products to owning the channel. In 2001, Mars bought Royal Canin, the French brand that sits behind vet counters worldwide. It had taken a stake in Banfield Pet Hospital back in 1994, and in 2007 it bought the rest. In 2008, it swallowed Wrigley for around $23 billion, which is where Skittles and Extra Gum come from. In 2015, it bought BluePearl, specialty and emergency care, the places you go at 2 in the morning when something is badly wrong. Look at that sequence closely. Food, then the clinic, then the emergency room. Each purchase moved Mars closer to the moment when you are frightened, exhausted, and not price shopping. The VCA deal in 2017 is the one that finished the machine. Roughly 800 hospitals, a nationwide diagnostics laboratory business called Antech, and a pipeline into almost every metropolitan market in the country, all for $9.1 billion, including debt. Regulators looked at it. The Federal Trade Commission reviewed the merger and cleared it, on the condition that Mars divest 12 clinics in a handful of local markets where the overlap with Banfield and BluePearl was too obvious to ignore. 12 out of roughly 800 locations changing hands. That number tells you exactly how American antitrust law thinks about this problem. It asks a narrow question whether you still have a choice of clinic within driving distance of your house. It does not ask whether the company treating your animal also manufactures the therapeutic diet it prescribes, runs the lab that justifies the prescription, and sells the treats that helped cause the condition. Those are different markets on the regulator's map. On your credit card statement, they are one line after another. Follow one sick dog through it. He is gaining weight, so you buy the treats that say they are made by veterinarians. Mars brand. He gets heavier, and now the joints hurt, so you take him to the clinic. Mars owned. The vet runs blood work, and the sample goes to Antech. Mars owned. The panel comes back, suggesting a kidney issue, so the vet writes a recommendation for a therapeutic diet. Royal Canin. Mars owned. She hands you a dental chew for the tartar. Greenies. Mars owned. You mention you never knew what breed he was mixed with, and she suggests a DNA test. Wisdom panel. Mars owned. Not one step in that chain is illegal. Not one step is even unusual. Each individual recommendation is defensible on its own medical terms, and the vet making it is very likely doing exactly what she believes is right. That is what makes vertical integration such an effective structure. It does not require anyone to be corrupt. It only requires that the default option, the thing on the shelf, the lab on the requisition form, the diet in the software dropdown, already belong to the company that signs the checks. You can price shop a lot of things in medicine, You cannot price shop a lab you never see. When your vet draws blood, that sample leaves the building and goes to a reference laboratory. In the United States, that market is effectively two companies, IDEXX and Antech came with the VCA purchase. In 2023, Mars added Heska for around $1.3 billion, which makes the analyzer machines that sit on the counter inside the clinic and run tests without the sample leaving at all. So the company owns the clinic, the machine in the clinic, and the lab the clinic sends samples to. You will never see a price for the test before it is run. You will see it afterward, itemized, on a bill you are going to pay, because the alternative is telling a technician to put the needle away. And all of that is the boring structural half of the story. The other half comes down to a single word printed on a bag of dog food, a word that does not legally mean what you think it means. If you are still here, you are the reason this channel works. Subscribe, because the next part is the one that made a federal appeals court get involved. And it starts with a word you have read 100 times without once questioning it. Walk into a vet clinic and look at the bags behind the counter. Many of them say prescription. You need the vet's authorization to buy them. They cost substantially more than the food on the shelf at the pet store. Here is the thing. The Food and Drug Administration does not require a prescription for those foods. They are not drugs. They contain no controlled substance. There is no federal rule that makes it illegal to sell you a bag of kidney support kibble directly. What actually exists is an enforcement policy. Pet foods that make disease claims technically fall outside the normal rules for animal feed, and rather than pull them from the market, the FDA has long exercised discretion and left them alone as long as they move through veterinarians. So the gate is real, but it is a policy convention that the industry adopted and now advertises as a medical safeguard. The word prescription on that bag is doing marketing work, not legal work. It signals to you that a professional judgment stands behind the price, and it makes comparison shopping feel irresponsible rather than merely difficult. Consumers eventually sued over exactly this. The case, Moore against Mars Pet Care, argued that the prescription label misled buyers into paying inflated prices for food that required no prescription under federal law. The defendants named were a who's who of the industry, the major therapeutic diet manufacturers, along with the retail and clinic chains that sold them. A district court threw it out. In 2020, the Ninth Circuit revived the consumer protection claims and sent them back down, holding that a reasonable buyer could indeed be misled by the label, regardless of whether every individual statement on the bag was technically accurate. The companies denied wrongdoing throughout, and years of litigation followed without any finding that the practice was illegal. Notice what happened to the label after all of it. Go look at the counter today. Some brands change the wording. The gate is still there. The price gap is still there. The structure survived the lawsuit completely intact, which is usually the tell that the structure, not any individual claim, was the valuable thing all along. If this were only Mars, you could avoid it by choosing a different clinic. It is not only Mars. Hill's Science Diet, the other big therapeutic food brand, is owned by Colgate-Palmolive. The company that makes your toothpaste makes your cat's renal diet. Purina belongs to Nestlé, the company behind Kit Kat and Nescafé. So the three dominant names in veterinary nutrition are a candy company, a toothpaste company, and a chocolate and coffee company. Then there is Jabi Holding, the private investment vehicle of the Ryman family, best known in America for Krispy Kreme, Panera, Pret A Manger, and Keurig. Starting around 2019, Jabi spent billions buying veterinary groups, including National Veterinary Associates, and then bought its way into pet insurance as well. Sit with the completed picture. One conglomerate can own the clinic that recommends the treatment and the insurance policy that decides how much of the treatment is covered. The party estimating the bill and the party paying the bill answer to the same owner. In human healthcare, that arrangement is regulated intensely. In veterinary medicine, your dog is legally property, and property does not get a patient advocate. The last piece is the one people sign without reading at the counter while holding a leash, the wellness plan, a flat monthly payment covering exams, vaccines, and routine screening. Banfield built the model at scale, and the rest of the industry copied it. It sounds like insurance, and it is explicitly not insurance. It is a prepaid package of services, usually on a 12-month contract, frequently with automatic renewal, and if you cancel early, you generally owe the difference between what you paid and the retail price of everything you already used. For a puppy in the first year, the math can genuinely work in your favor. What the plan really buys the company is something better than margin. It buys the default. It converts an unpredictable, comparison-shopped, once-a-year decision into a recurring charge on a card, at one chain, inside a store that sells the food, owned by the company that makes the food. That is the same business model as a gym membership, applied to an animal that cannot tell you whether it needs the service. None of this is a story about villainous veterinarians. It is close to the opposite. The person examining your dog likely finished school owing well over $150,000 on a salary that has never scaled the way the debt did. Many are paid on production, meaning a percentage of what they bill, which quietly converts every clinical judgment into a revenue event. Corporate ownership brings real things they need: equipment, coverage, someone else handling payroll and compliance. It also brings targets, protocols, and preferred vendor lists. And the human cost inside the profession is severe. Research published by the CDC found veterinarians die by suicide at rates well above the general population, with the gap especially wide among women, who are now the large majority of the field. Compassion fatigue, debt, and the daily work of telling people what something costs when the answer decides whether an animal lives. So when you get an estimate that feels enormous, the person handing it to you is very often the one with the least power in the transaction, and the one absorbing your reaction to it. You cannot opt out of a market structure. You can change how you behave inside it. Ask who owns the practice, and ask it before there is an emergency, when the answer is just information. Independent clinics still exist, and many list ownership on their own websites. Ask whether a recommended diet is the clinic's protocol or a specific medical judgment about your animal, and ask what the alternative would be. Ask for the itemized estimate in writing before diagnostics run, and ask if the same test can be sent to a different lab. Read the wellness plan's cancellation terms at the counter, not later. And notice the shape of the whole thing, because the shape is the point. A company sells you the treats. The treats help make the animal heavy, and roughly 6 in 10 dogs and cats in the United States now are, according to the pet obesity researchers who track it. The heavy animal gets sick. The clinic that diagnoses it, the lab that confirms it, and the expensive food that treats it all belong to the company that sold you the treats. The candy store is your veterinarian. That is not a metaphor. It is a corporate org chart. Same machine as the last episode, different aisle. One company sells you the problem, then sells you the cure, and calls the second one healthcare. The last episode is the other half of this. It is on screen now.